Marcellus Sports Shooting Stars, we bring the game to you. And right now, I got the 2025 SEC champion, the NCAA national champion, my man from New Oxford, the Florida Gator, the sophomore, Tommy Haugh. What's up, buddy?
What's up, brother? How you doing?
Whew, just talk about this ride you've been on, man. Did you get any sleep the last week?
Yeah, it's been a fun last week. We've had a lot of fun things around campus going on. Got like a nice little parade and a halftime show too. So it's been a really fun last couple of weeks. But I'm starting to get back in a routine now, though.
That's cool. Was the one celebration I saw when they yelled your name, you got the mic, you were like, New Oxford. And it was so cool, man.
Yeah, no, I love my hometown, and I'm not gonna forget my roots and where I came from.
That's awesome, dude. Well, I'm gonna actually test that right now, man. I want to see how York you are.
Oh, geez.
So, got a couple real tough questions.
Yep.
Snack food, Utz, Snyder of Hanover. Are you going Martins?
Oh, I like it's a toss up between Snyder's of Hanover and Utz for sure.
Yeah,
Definitely a
that's
toss
tough.
up there.
That's tough. Now this is a tough one.
Yeah.
Favorite restaurant: White Rose, First Post, or Audlin House?
Oh, I gotta say All in House, man. Come on. I gotta
It's been in
say
your
that.
family forever, right?
Yeah, shout out to the Pops. Yeah, it's been there for a while.
Well, the people haven't gone there yet. What food should we order, man? If
Oh,
you stop by the Audlin House?
so they're known for their chicken and waffles. That's what they're known for, which a lot of people don't know. But I think I just get tuna and steak. They cook it up so good there. I think a nice fillet was that's always an option for me when I go there. Actually, it's not always an option. Sometimes they get a little expensive, and Dad's not trying to give up some of his fillets to me. But
He gives
hopefully,
you that.
hopefully I get back in town, he'll give me one of those. But
Yeah, I think you deserve at least a 10% discount at this point,
I
man.
hope so. Yeah, yeah, I hope so.
Well, let's go back to where it all began.
Yep.
Rewind to your sophomore season at New Oxford. It's been said you guys probably the best colonial basketball team of all time under my
Hmm.
guy, Coach Nate Myers. Y'all went
Yep.
25-4, got the first ever state win, playoff win in school history. I gotta
Hmm.
ask you though, man, talk about that meat grinder, that drill, the head-to-head with Braden Long and Abdul. Coach was telling me about that. You and Abdul and Braden going in that meat
Yeah.
grinder. Talk about that.
Oh, that drill's hilarious. That drill is one of a kind, It's just go out there and you're playing football basically, not trying to let those guys score, but yeah, Coach Myers he does a great job running practice, and I miss that team a lot. That was one of my most favorite years, I would say, playing basketball, obviously, and I'm sad it got cut short because of COVID, but that was a really fun group of guys, and I really enjoyed them.
Well, Coach Myers gave nothing but praise. He said you're such a great teammate and young man, and he said that once you're a Colonial, you're always a Colonial. So I wanted to pass that on. So obviously he went to Perkiomen then and
Mhm.
won the first ever state championship there with that
Yeah.
school. So
Yep.
man, you've been winning wherever you're going. Talk a little bit about that transition, man, leaving home
Yeah.
and going there.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, it was really hard. I had a great gig in New Oxford, and obviously Coach Myers and all my friends were there too. So but I think during COVID it really shaped it, and I knew I needed to get out there and go play basketball. We were uncertain like whether we were gonna even get to practice, gonna be able to even get to like have like shoot around and stuff like games like that in the PIAA. So I went to Perk, I think, just because I knew even if I didn't have any games and stuff, the competition and practice every day was going to be up to par. It definitely paid off, but I definitely still miss New Oxford. And it was definitely a tough decision for me to make then.
Do you still talk to like Abdul? I know he just was had his pro day. You
Yeah,
still talk to some of the guys?
yeah, I do a lot. I got a ton of guys hit me up after Final Four game and stuff like that.
Oh,
So
I
it's
bet.
really cool hearing from them. And yeah, I still talk to Abdul a little bit.
Well, from like all the teams around here, we're all huddled up around you, man, watching that gigantic game. But before we talk about that, I want to talk about your freshman year at
Yeah,
Florida.
yeah,
When do you feel like you really were like, hey, you know what? I deserve to be here. Like I am a D1 plus player. Like talk
yeah.
about when that kind of sank in.
I think honestly after the first game I was super nervous. Obviously, my whole entire freshman year, it was definitely a little nerve wracking getting out there as a freshman because usually they don't play freshmen. But Coach Golden believed in me a lot and put me out there on the court with the guys and trusted me with the ball. So I honestly think after the first game, I was just like, all right, Thomas, let's do this, man. You belong here. You practiced your whole life to get to this moment, and let's just go make it happen. And it was all credit to them though, giving me the opportunity to even play as a freshman. It's a lot of times in the country that doesn't happen. So.
Yeah, well, I know you had that gigantic game against Georgia where you had the
Oh
17
yeah.
points, 7 rebounds, but seems
Yeah.
like usually in that last minute or two, I know a lot of your teammates seem to step up, but you're definitely one of them that does some of the plays that won't always go in the stats, the stat books. But
Yep.
but yeah, let's jump right up into this past run, man. This you guys beat the who's who. It wasn't easy. You did not
Nah, it
have
was
a
not.
not easy at all.
Nope.
And a lot of those games you guys were down. Just talk a little bit about that, man. The never say die attitude and what you guys went through.
Yeah, this is our team this year. We're a bunch of gritty guys, and we got this group together. It was a bunch of unranked guys, a bunch of guys that didn't have the 5 star, the 4 stars that you see in the country nowadays, and everybody's like highly coveted recruits and stuff like that. So I think when it came to those games where times got tough, we just didn't fold, and we just stayed true to ourselves and true to that grittiness. And a lot of people didn't believe in us, ranking wise, going up in high school and stuff like that. So just use that as motivation, and then obviously got us to the Final Four, and then we were able to make some big shots and get the job done there. So,
That's crazy. Well, I always tell my kids, like, look, it's not who starts, it's who finishes. And
yep.
you're out there a lot of times in the crunch of all crunches, but on the big stage with the whole world watching, you get in the first half, it's 8-8, and you get it's Francis comes up and pretty much puts
Oh,
a
he dunked
poster
on me.
dunk on your
Oh, why'd you
yeah.
why'd you got to bring that up? No,
Well, I
I'm just
watched it
kidding. I'm
again,
just
and you
kidding.
get the ball right out of the hoop, go out of bounds, throw the ball in, you go down, and you're playing ball. You missed the three, but then you end up getting the tip dunk to
Yeah,
tie
yeah,
it back to 10-10.
yeah,
But
yeah,
just for the kids out there, I want to talk about that next play mentality. I mean,
yeah,
you could
yeah.
have put your head down, but you didn't, man. You just went right back up there. Talk about that.
Yeah, I know that happens. In basketball, when you're playing a level like this, stuff like that's gonna happen. You're gonna get dunked on. You're gonna get your ankles broken. You're gonna get scored on, miss a game-winning basket. You just gotta forget about it and zone it out. That's just one play, and you gotta move on to the next play. And I think my coaching staff did a great job just conveying that to me too. We don't get down on each other. They don't really get on us much. Like they're not gonna scream at us, take us out of the game for a mistake or something like that to happen. So just going out there and playing free and just trusting yourself helped me a lot.
That's awesome. Well, then you guys start, I think you were down 12 and you cut
Yeah.
it to 6 and you switch
Mhm.
out on the guard right on top. You block
Uh-huh.
it.
Yeah.
You end up running everything you have down there. You get the ball back, that crazy circus finish and one.
Yeah.
Was that the moment where you were like, you could just feel like, hey, something special is happening. This is ours, or talk about that moment.
Yeah, I think we were down a lot this whole tournament. So once we got down by 12, we nobody was like pointing fingers, nobody was trying to do something crazy. We're just stick to our stuff and stick to our gut. That's what we did. And then obviously that play happened to give us some momentum, and then Walt came to his fruition there at the end too, getting that and one and then getting some hitting that 1-3. So I think just believing in each other and believing in our coaching staff just led us to come back from that point, and then for me to make that play too.
Well, that wasn't the only block you had. You guys were down one, 50 seconds to go. You switch out on the guard. He takes you
Yeah.
left of the hole. You get your hands on the ball. That was gigantic with the steal there. Um, and then you guys hit the two clutch free throws, put you guys up one, get the other free throw. Now you're up two. But talk about, like, they did not even get a shot off in that last minute. Your team defense was just crazy. Talk about that.
Yeah, it's a big thing we stressed this year. We were really good offensively last year. We weren't that great defensively, and we put a ton of time and work in this summer, and defense was a huge part of our summer this year. That was like the main thing, establishing a good defense, making sure to keep the ball handlers on the side of the court, leaving from the middle, shading and stuff like that. So just our ability to go through that stuff in practice and then execute it there. You saw it obviously showed up in crunch time how connected we are defensively this year.
No, that's amazing, man. Well, I really appreciate you coming on here with me. Just for all the youth out there in that 717
Yep.
York Adams area, give a little nugget, man. If someone out there they're struggling with their game or they have dreams of being on the big stage like you, like what's your message to them?
Yeah, keep believing in yourself and trust yourself. You know, there might be tough times. You're going to go through some struggles, but in the end, if you're focused and you put in the work outside, you know, it's going to pay off.
Well, there it is, man. Right from the national champion's mouth, Tommy Haugh. Thank you so much for jumping on with me, Sports
No
Shooting
problem.
Stars. We'll bring the game to you. Contact us, sportsshootingstars@gmail.com.